I am sure there are many things that you just do not understand about Americans. Well, I am here to help you with that.
Other countries suck. America is number one.
My name is Nick Alfieri, and I am an American that lives in Germany. I've lived here for about 7 years, and I've gotten all the questions there are to get from Germans and other Europeans about Americans. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you things that you just don't understand about me and my people. Let's get into it.
Well, let's start with the one that everybody wants to talk about, guns.
The United States, of course, is the land of guns. There are something like 400 million guns in circulation in the US, and that's just for the ones that can be accounted for. That's about 120 guns per 100 people, the most in the world. Now, why do we have so many guns? I am going to completely oversimplify it and explain to you that it all comes down to a thing called the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, which basically provides citizens of the United States the right to bear arms, the right to own weapons. The big debate nowadays is, of course, the interpretations of the Second Amendment. People that are pro-gun say that it gives total access to all firearms and weapons ownership, and the people that are anti-gun say that this is misinterpreted and outdated. Naturally, it is probably one of the biggest debates in the United States, but that is the origin of it.
Tipping. In the United States, you are expected to tip in so many different situations and to tip quite a bit. You know, in Germany, you tip maybe 10% at a restaurant, and there's a lot of situations where you don't tip in Germany, where you would tip in the United States. And the big thing is tipping at restaurants, and you typically tip 15% if it's fine, 20% if it's good service, and sometimes even more, 25%. And the reason is there's actually no minimum wage for servers, waiters, and waitresses in restaurants in some states. And so basically the customer is expected to pay the wage of the server.
I get paid $2.13 an hour as a bartender and a server. I was paid $9.28 for 70 hours of work.
There's a pretty deep, complicated history with the tipping, but that is why you are expected to tip so much more in the United States.
Nudity. The United States is famous for being kind of prudish when it comes to nudity. Now, what's interesting is I actually made a video about nudity about 4 weeks ago, and it basically explains why the United States is so prude and uncomfortable with nudity, especially public nudity, and why Germany is so comfortable with it. And guess what? YouTube, an American company, blocked the video because it was too inappropriate, discussing nudity and showing some nude images. It wasn't anything graphic like that, but I think that was a great example. But basically, Americans, for us, nudity is a very private thing, and I think a big aspect of this is from our media. In American media and TV shows, nudity is often portrayed as something to be embarrassed about. They're always covering up, and it's always the butt of a joke. If there is nudity, it's always about something that is embarrassing. It's always laughed at as if, oh, this is wrong, this is uncomfortable, and I think that's pretty ingrained in a lot of Americans. There are other reasons, of course, as well. It goes back to kind of our founding, our roots with the Puritans, but I do think that American media has played a big part in our discomfort with nudity.
Donald Trump. This is probably the most asked thing that, at least during the last few years here in Germany, that I, as an American, had to get asked by Germans all the time. What's up with Donald Trump? What do you guys think of Donald Trump? How did Donald Trump become president? And I'm going to give you the oversimplified, very, very simple answer here, because I know so many Europeans have no idea how or why that would happen. Basically, Donald Trump represented the anti-establishment in the United States. A lot of people feel or felt disenfranchised by the establishment, and he represented not that. So that is the oversimplified answer. The astronomical price of college education. To give you an example here, the college that I went to, Georgetown University, costs about $60,000 a year to go to if you have no financial aid or scholarships. That is the sticker price, 60 grand a year. To compare that to my girlfriend's university, that costs her about 25 euros a semester. Now, this system of higher education in the United States has become ridiculous and bloated. Basically, they will promise and give loans to any 18-year-old that wants to go to college. So they've created this predatory student loan system. And so They can charge any price they want for college education, and it's just gotten higher and higher every single year. It doesn't go towards the education though. No, it goes towards paying administrators and all of these people and, you know, presidents of the university. And so they're incentivized to just keep increasing the price. Student loans in the United States are the one type of debt that you cannot declare bankruptcy for. Pretty crazy.
Our news is very entertainment based. Now, very often when I watch German news, it is very calm. It is just saying the facts. It's kind of saying this is what happened. It's almost boring.
After weeks of infighting, the Free Democrat finance minister and the Green family minister have come to an agreement.
In the United States, it is much different. The news is entertainment, especially watching cable news. MSNBC, Fox News, CNN.
You know what, John Fredericks? John, until that last comment, I'm going to cut you off. Can we please cut him off? Can we take him off the screen?
All of these news channels only lean to their political alignments, and they just serve the people that they know already lean that way. So it's always just creating entertaining echo chambers for people. It's very rare to get a nice, balanced, factual-based news in the United States. Can't get it on TV. You have to search for other news sources to get this. So speaking of our entertainment-based news and media, something that was really important for me when I moved to Germany was the fact that I was able to get an outside perspective and an outside look at my home country, the United States. And from the outside, I could see the extreme media polarization. In this internet age, especially with these algorithms, we are all just getting fed information that supports our current worldview. We're living in these bubbles and these echo chambers. Which is why I'm super excited about this app and website that I've been using for a while now, and I'm a huge fan of Ground News. Ground News helps me see all sides of stories and news and information that I consume and shows the media biases and the origins, and I am thrilled to have them as the sponsor of today's video. Ground News helps you see the bias in media reporting with many amazing features. For example, if I look up news about the Ukraine war on Ground News, I can click on articles and go back and forth between left-leaning, right-leaning, and center-leaning publications, and see the different language in headlines used by each. It helps me see what certain outlets and publications are trying to emphasize when telling the story. And Ground News helps me see all sides of the story. I also absolutely love the blind spot feature, which shows you news and information that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum or the other. And it gives you the chance to see media and news that you otherwise would not be seeing in your information bubble. I love how Ground News helps me pop out of my bubble and my echo chamber and consume news that I otherwise wouldn't be seeing. I think it's one of the most important things that we can have in this technological information day and age, and I highly recommend it to everyone. Check out ground.news/now. Through my link, not only will you get 30% off unlimited access, you'll support my channel and this small startup working to hold media accountable in the meantime. It's very worth it. I highly recommend it to everyone.
Portion sizes. Any German that has visited the United States knows that the portion sizes in the USA are much bigger. A lot of Germans are appalled at how big they are, especially compared to portion sizes in Germany. The thing is with this, Americans, we have a little bit more obesity, we like to eat a little bit more, but it is also acceptable for people to not finish their meal at a restaurant. And we have a big leftover culture, a takeaway culture, and a to-go box culture. Here in Germany, it's much more looked at as rude and kind of looked down upon if you don't finish your meal at a restaurant. In the States, it's totally fine. So when you get this huge, big portion, maybe some people will finish it right then and there, but a lot of people will eat some of it now and box the rest of it up and take it home to go and eat it as leftovers. This is much more culturally acceptable in the States than it is here in Germany. So that is the explanation for our gigantic portion sizes.
Patriotism. Look at me. I'm wearing a USA shirt right now. I very rarely see a German person walking around wearing a Germany shirt, unless it's like for the soccer team or it's World Cup time or something. Americans are among the most patriotic people in the world. I've mentioned this previously, but there's a whole industry of putting American flags on things, whether it's backpacks, shirts, phone cases, bumper stickers. American flags are seen everywhere. A lot of people fly American flags in front of their houses. totally normal in Germany. And again, I made a video about this whole thing about pride and patriotism. In Germany, it is very rare to see somebody flying a German flag in front of their house. I'm not exactly sure why American pride and patriotism is so strong compared to other countries. It would be worth it for a deep dive, but it is certainly there. It is certainly prevalent. And for the Germans who are asking about it, I don't know, man. Just from a young age, you say the Pledge of Allegiance in school, you get American flag t-shirts, you have USA t-shirts. That's just kind of the way it is.
Why Americans don't like to walk. It's basically a running joke at this point that Germans like to walk so much more than Americans. We Americans, we hate walking and are very uncomfortable with it, like I'm doing right now. See, but the point of this is because it is very difficult to walk comfortably in American cities. The way that they are laid out, you can't walk around and get around them the same way that you can in European cities. And so we're just not used to walking. And so our solution to get places always is to get in the car and drive, because a lot of times in American cities, people will think something is wrong if you are walking there, because these places are very pedestrian unfriendly. And so that is why Americans are allergic to walking. Bathroom stalls in the United States. If you've ever been to the States, you know that the bathroom stalls in public bathrooms are very poorly made, poorly constructed, and they do not close all the way, and there are huge gaps in between the door and the stalls, leaving you no privacy. What is the explanation for this? There is no explanation for this. I cannot tell you. It's very, very stupid, and I have no idea why. I am with you on that one. Obesity. Earlier this summer, I made a video talking about why Americans are so much more obese and overweight than Germans and other Europeans. So you can watch that whole video if you want an in-detailed explanation, but I will just give you a quick points here. It is because we do not walk. High fructose corn syrup is in almost everything that we have because the American government subsidized corn, and so we use corn in a lot of our foods and corn syrup, which is very unhealthy, very fattening. And because our Food and Drug Administration regulatory body, the FDA, kind of works backwards and does not do a good job at protecting American consumers from harmful chemicals that probably help us become unhealthy and obese. So that is why many Americans could not fit in this little narrow divot that I am in right now. Unfortunate.
The American education system. I have talked to a good amount of Germans who have gone over to the United States for some sort of exchange program where they do a year at American school. And they all seem to have the same reaction. Whoa, American school is very easy and simple. This is the thing, American public school system do not have good reputations at all. The way that the schools are financed are based on the property taxes of the areas. So in the poorer areas, you're gonna have less taxes, less financing, less resources. These are gonna be worse schools. And so there's a huge disparity in the schools. And on average, the public education system in the United States is quite poor. Speaking of education, if you are a teacher in Germany, please help out my girlfriend Laura. She's doing her master thesis survey. She just needs a little bit of help from some teachers in Germany to participate. Email her right here to participate. Very much appreciated if you are a teacher in Germany. Thank you so much.
Pickup trucks. The Ford F-150 is the best-selling car in the United States. Americans, we love pickup trucks. But why? Well, in Europe, a pickup truck is very impractical. The roads are tiny, there's way less space, but in the States, the roads are much wider. There's so much more space, and pickup trucks just kind of represent that American Western freedom mentality, that kind of Wild West cowboy mentality. So the pickup truck is a lot of times a symbol of American ideals. You'll see it very often in commercials and stuff like that. And so that is my explanation for why we love pickup trucks.
Saying awesome and amazing all the time. Americans, we like to exaggerate. We like to emphasize things. And what better way than to say awesome or amazing? We are guilty of saying this for things that might technically not be amazing. You see something that's kind of cool, that's fine. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Our culture is very polite, and some might say superficial polite, and there's no better word to use to describe something at a superficially polite level than amazing or awesome. I am guilty of it. Many Americans are guilty of it. I know a lot of Germans dislike this because for Germans, they're at the other end of the spectrum on this point. If there's something that is actually genuinely awesome or amazing, a German will describe it as, not bad. So it's very shocking for Germans when they see us describe things that are not bad as amazing. All right, guys, those are some things that I know Germans just cannot understand about Americans. If you have some more things you just don't understand about Americans, let me know in the comments because I am absolutely fascinated by this. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube videos. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.